Oh boy, the S3 ViRGE, the so-called 3D decelerator that I've been plagued with for the past 20 years. When I was a kid, I never actually tried playing a game on this card with hardware rendering, probably because I didn't even know it was supposed to be a 3D accelerator. When I accidentally turned on the hardware rendering, I usually just got a bunch of garbage on my screen. So that's why I'm going to be trying a few games on the S3 ViRGE inside my Micron Home MPC. S3 ViRGE versus Pentium 133. This home MPC ad is pretty funny too. According to them, they said you will have all the speed and power to run your favorite games and applications with optimum performance. We'll see how full of shit that is. Now behold as we experience the raw power of the S3 ViRGE.
Satellite enabled.
For a second there, I didn't even think it was going to work. So this is Battlezone, using the S3 ViRGE for hardware acceleration at 640 by 480. And as you can see, the frame rate is not good. You can see a lot of missing textures on the floor there, and also if you look at this mountain closely, there's a little bit of a weird dithering effect going on. I don't know what that's from. Yeah, I'm thinking this is decelerating my video. Let's take a look at the software renderer.
Satellite enabled.
So this is software rendering at 640 by 480 on the Pentium 133, and already the frame rate's better than what the S3 ViRGE was giving us. On top of that, we actually have all the textures and there's no weird dithering effects. Although there's no texture filtering, it's not going to matter much if we can't see all the textures anyway. So I say that's 1 point for the Pentium 133 and 0 points for the S3 ViRGE. Up next is one of my childhood favorites, Frogger, in software rendering. It's also running at the lowest resolution possible to give both the Pentium 133 and the ViRGE a chance. So it's a little bit sluggish on the Pentium 133's software rendering, but at least everything's there and rendered correctly. I guess we'll find out if the ViRGE can at least do that. Well, this game doesn't think that my ViRGE has 4 megabytes of VRAM, so I don't think it'll be very happy about that. Well, my camera doesn't really like that for whatever reason. I guess 60 frames per second recording is not going to be a thing I'll be doing with this monitor anymore. Also, if you notice right there, there was some broken geometry on those logs. Well, holy cow, the frame rate's not actually awful. It also seems like all the textures and effects are there too. That's actually not too bad. So even though there was some broken geometry on the first screen, the gameplay is actually intact, and actually runs better on the S3 ViRGE than it does in software rendering. So I'll give this point to the S3 ViRGE. They're actually tied, well, for now. So this game's just Tomb Raider, running on the Pentium 133 in software mode. This game has a patch for specifically the S3 ViRGE, so I'm going to try that out here in a minute. So it runs pretty well in just a Pentium 133 in software mode, so I guess we'll find out what the S3 ViRGE patch does. Oh, that's just great. It doesn't even work. Well, so much for that idea. Well, I guess the Pentium 133 gets a point right here by default because it actually works. Up next is Descent 2 in software mode. And don't mind me, I don't know how to play this game. I have to figure out the controls. They say that Descent 2 is supposed to be a pretty demanding game in the later levels. At least in level 1 you can play it pretty smoothly on a Pentium 133. And now this is the hardware render mode. This game actually has a patch specifically for the S3 ViRGE, and I'm using it right now. As you can see, there's a bit more texture filtering, but the frame rate's now pretty fucking awful. It's kind of funny how this is the first 3D accelerator this game was patched for. You're just better off running the game in software mode because it just runs smoother. I at least gotta give it credit for actually working, unlike the Tomb Raider one though. Well, that's one more point for the Pentium 133 then, I guess. So up next is Hot Wheels Micro Racers, which is another favorite of mine from when I was a little kid. This is in software rendering mode at 640 by 480, and as you can see, the frame rate is not good at all. Actually, I'd say this frame rate is pretty much unplayable. I would run it at a lower resolution, but we are using a 3D accelerator, or we're going to be comparing it to a 3D accelerator, and 640 by 480 is our target, I suppose. So, yeah, not very good. Well, I guess we better go into the menu and turn on some of that 3D acceleration goodness. Oh boy, what do we have here? Well, there's a lot of missing textures and stuff, it appears. Actually, I don't think those are what? That was inverted for whatever reason. I don't think those are textures that are missing. The textures are there. I guess just the particle effects have weird black boxes around them. Yeah, this doesn't look very good at all. And the frame rate's not even that much better than the software renderer either. It's just overall awful. When I say that when I was a kid I turned the 3D accelerator on and saw a screen full of garbage, it was basically this game. On this game, it doesn't let you turn on the 3D acceleration without a 3D accelerator, obviously. My Pentium 2 didn't allow me to turn that option on because it didn't have one, that old Dell laptop. So I figured out that I could turn it on my old 200 MHz MMX machine, and yeah, I got my screen full of garbage. I thought the game was confused and that I actually didn't have a 3D accelerator card. Well, I was wrong, I guess. Well, I guess we can count that as another point for the Pentium 133 for not looking like garbage. So I guess we have our final results there, and those results are saying that the Pentium 133 is a better 3D accelerator than the S3 ViRGE, which is an actual 3D accelerator. Well, congratulations S3, your 3D acceleration is absolute crap. At least I can play DOS games on it.